Some breaking news just into our newsroom within the past hour. We're learning that the Charlotte FBI field office has officially opened an investigation into the death of a woman on vacation in Cabo, Mexico back in October. Now, Queen City News first brought you the story about Shanquella Robinson's mysterious death last week. As anchor Morgan Francis reports, police investigating the case are sharing what they've discovered so far.
On October 28, 2022, 25-year-old Shanquella Bernada Robinson traveled from Charlotte, North Carolina to San José del Cabo, Mexico, with 6 people she knew socially. The trip was intended to be a short vacation. Less than 24 hours after arriving, Robinson was dead. What followed was a series of conflicting statements, disputed medical findings, and parallel investigations across 2 countries that remain unresolved years later.
Thursday, Mexican authorities told Queen City News Shanquella Robinson's friends lied to them about what happened to her prior to her untimely death on October 29th. An officer investigating the case says they interviewed 2 friends at the villa in Cabo who said Shanquella Robinson had alcohol poisoning. The same story her family says they told them.
They said she wasn't feeling well. She had alcohol poisoning. They couldn't get a pulse.
It wasn't until her autopsy came back that Mexican police discovered she had a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability in the uppermost vertebrae. They also didn't see this video showing Robinson get violently assaulted until Wednesday.
Good evening. I'm Shanquella Robinson's mother, Salamandra Robinson. And I would like each and every one of you, if you can, anything you can do, step in and help us with justice. We need justice for Shanquella Robinson. It has been 2 years, and there's no reason that no one has not been arrested yet, and I need justice for my child. Thank you.
This is Facebook Crime. We deliver clear, factual, and up-to-date true crime stories. Subscribe and turn on notifications to stay informed on the latest cases and investigations. Shanquella Bernada Robinson was born on January 9, 1997, in Charlotte, North Carolina. She was raised in a close family environment and maintained strong ties with her parents. Robinson attended Winston-Salem State University, where she completed her undergraduate education. After college, Robinson pursued entrepreneurship. She operated a women's clothing boutique, marketed fashion products online, and provided hair braiding services. She maintained a visible social media presence that showcased her business ventures, travel, and personal lifestyle. Public records and digital archives confirm her active engagement in self-employment and branding prior to her death. Robinson had no documented history of serious medical conditions. Family members later stated that she was physically healthy before traveling to Mexico. No evidence has been presented indicating chronic illness or conditions that would predispose her to sudden death. Robinson traveled with 6 individuals. The group consisted of both men and women who were described in various accounts as friends, acquaintances, or social peers. Publicly identified members of the group include Khalil Cook, Malik St. Patrick Dwyer, Winter Essence Donovan, Alyssa Michelle Hyatt, Dejane Jackson, later known as Imani Green, Nazir Wiggins. The group rented a luxury villa in the San José del Cabo area, part of the greater Cabo San Lucas region in Baja California Sur, Mexico. The villa was privately rented and not a hotel or resort with continuous on-site staff. On October 28, 2022, Robinson arrived in San José del Cabo. Travel records confirm her entry into Mexico. The group checked into the villa later that day. No disturbances were reported during arrival or check-in. There is limited verified information regarding activities during the evening of October 28th. No police calls or emergency requests were documented that night. Robinson did not contact her family from the villa after arrival. On October 29th, Robinson remained inside the villa. At some point during the day, she became physically unwell. According to statements later provided by members of the travel group to Mexican authorities, Robinson appeared disoriented and weak. Around 2:13 p.m., emergency services were contacted and a private physician was dispatched to the villa. A licensed physician arrived at the villa approximately 1 hour after being contacted. According to the official police report, the doctor found Robinson lying down, dehydrated, verbally unresponsive, and unable to sit or stand without assistance. Members of the travel group told the doctor that Robinson had been drinking alcohol and suggested that her condition was related to intoxication. The doctor noted that her condition was serious and recommended immediate transportation to a hospital for further treatment. The group declined hospital transfer. Instead, the physician continued to treat Robinson inside the villa. The reported treatment included IV fluids and monitoring. The doctor remained at the villa for several hours. Later that afternoon, Robinson's condition worsened. She began experiencing seizures. At approximately 4:20 p.m., Robinson lost consciousness completely. Emergency medical services were contacted again. An ambulance arrived and paramedics attempted resuscitation. Despite efforts to revive her, Robinson was pronounced dead at approximately 5:57 p.m. on October 29, 2022.
This morning, a potential legal limbo as Mexican prosecutors seek to extradite an acquaintance of Shanquella Robinson, the North Carolina woman found dead while vacationing in Mexico. Authorities are not currently naming her, but say she is a direct aggressor against the 25-year-old after a video online, too violent to show, reveals Robinson assaulted in her hotel room. Mexican authorities issuing an arrest warrant for that acquaintance, now back in America, for the crime of femicide, the act of killing a woman based on her gender.
On the one hand, the U.S. government is going to take this seriously, and on the other hand, it's not obligated to turn her over.
On October 29th, local police reports state that a Baja Resort town guest told medical staff around 2 in the afternoon that Robinson had drunk a lot of alcohol, a doctor determining she was stable but dehydrated. Adding Robinson's acquaintances refused to send her to the hospital. The police report stating the Charlotte native went into cardiac arrest, declared dead by 6 p.m. But an autopsy differing from that report, stating medical officials arrived before 3 p.m., quickly declaring Robinson dead from severe spinal cord injury and a dislocated neck. Robinson's family wants answers.
I'm just waiting on that day when someone can be arrested. That's all I'm waiting on.
So as for those contradictions, Dan Abrams says sometimes that can happen when you have different officials looking into the same case, but it can be problematic for prosecutors. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The initial Mexican police report classified Robinson's death as a medical emergency with no immediate signs of violence. The report referenced intoxication as a contributing factor based on information provided by the travel companions. Shortly after Robinson's death, her mother received a phone call from one of the people who traveled with her. During that call, Robinson's mother was told that her daughter had died from alcohol poisoning. This explanation was repeated in early communications between the group and Robinson's family. Mexican authorities conducted a forensic autopsy shortly after Robinson's death. The autopsy findings differed significantly from the initial narrative provided by the travel group. The autopsy concluded that Robinson's death was a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation. Atlas luxation refers to displacement of the first cervical vertebra, located at the top of the spine, which can result from significant blunt force trauma. The autopsy classified the manner of death as violent. The report indicated that Robinson sustained injuries consistent with physical trauma, and death occurred shortly after the injury was inflicted. Alcohol poisoning was not listed as the cause of death. A Mexican death certificate issued days later reflected these findings. Robinson's body was transported back to the United States, where a second autopsy was conducted by the Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner's Office in North Carolina. The U.S. autopsy did not confirm the spinal cord injury or atlas luxation reported by Mexican authorities. Instead, it documented the following findings: a hematoma on the forehead, mild swelling of the brain, hypoxic ischemic brain injury, indicating lack of oxygen to the brain. The U.S. medical examiner ruled the cause of death as undetermined. The report noted that the body had been embalmed prior to the examination, which may have limited the ability to observe certain injuries. The discrepancy between the two autopsies became a central issue in subsequent investigations. In November 2022, videos began circulating on social media. The footage depicted a woman who closely resembled Robinson being physically assaulted by another woman inside a room consistent with the villa where the group stayed. The videos depicted Robinson unclothed, being struck repeatedly, and appearing unable to defend herself effectively. At least 2 other individuals were present in the room during the assault. One person could be heard speaking while recording. The videos were not time-stamped, and law enforcement agencies did not publicly confirm the exact date or circumstances under which they were recorded. However, Robinson's mother stated that she recognized her daughter and the individuals in the footage as members of the travel group. After review of the autopsy and video evidence, Mexican authorities reclassified the case as a homicide. Prosecutors in Baja California Sur opened a formal investigation under the legal classification of femicide, which in Mexican law refers to the killing of a woman under violent circumstances. Mexican authorities issued an arrest warrant for one suspect believed to be responsible for Robinson's fatal injuries. The suspect was identified as a U.S. citizen who had already returned to the United States. Mexican officials initiated the process to seek extradition through international legal channels. No extradition has been completed. In November 2022, the Federal Bureau of Investigation opened an inquiry into Robinson's death. The investigation involved coordination with Mexican authorities, review of autopsy findings, and analysis of available evidence. In April 2023, federal prosecutors announced that they would not pursue criminal charges against any individuals in the United States related to Robinson's death. Officials cited insufficient evidence to meet the legal standard required for federal prosecution. The FBI stated that the U.S. autopsy findings, combined with jurisdictional limitations and evidentiary challenges, did not support criminal charges under U.S. law. In October 2024, Robinson's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit in U.S. federal court. The lawsuit named the 6 travel companions as defendants, as well as the FBI and the U.S. State Department. The complaint alleged wrongful death, battery, negligence, civil conspiracy, failure to provide adequate medical care, failure to properly investigate. The complaint claimed that the travel companions provided false information about Robinson's condition, delayed medical intervention, and failed to cooperate fully with investigators. The lawsuit also alleged that federal agencies did not act promptly or transparently in handling the investigation. In June 2025, a federal judge partially dismissed claims against the FBI and the State Department. Claims against the private individuals were not fully dismissed and remain part of ongoing civil litigation. Several unresolved issues continue to define the case. Conflicting autopsies. The Mexican autopsy lists violent spinal trauma as the cause of death, while the U.S. autopsy lists the cause of death as undetermined. The video evidence depicts violence consistent with serious injury, but has not been formally authenticated in court proceedings. Medical decisions at the villa